you had a shirt that had an old-fashioned radio on it, and it said something like "caution, blah blah blah, do not play with the knobs."
Yeah.
I just remember that. And you had a novelty shirt like that, and then I know our brother had one that said had a picture of the Bell, not Bell brand, but it was Granny Goose brand,
Granny Goose.
whatever. And it said, "Are you man enough to eat Granny Goose?" It was
Yeah.
like,
That was
but that
popular in
thing
the
with you,
70s.
caution, do not play with the knobs. Oh my gosh. I wish we
Yeah.
had a picture of that shirt. That was brilliant. Hey, hello.
Hello.
Welcome
Welcome back.
to
Grandma's not right.
No.
No. Grandma's
Nope.
not right. Nope. So, yeah, Grandma is not right. Although, as in, this is part two of from last week's episode, or a continuation, let's say, from last week's episode. We
Yes.
are right when it comes to certain things about being women or being a parent, whatever,
Yes.
um, and breastfeeding. We're experts at that. So, we're talking about it because, it is something that's important in our lives and always has been.
Yep.
Um,
But
because we
before,
grew up
yes.
understanding what these are for.
Yes. But these are for there's different views on what these
Well,
are
I know.
for. And I did
And
not
some
intend, by the way, for
some
mine to be out here so much today. They're out
well, they're
there.
out there.
I'm
Way too
lazy.
Wendy, they're way too close to the camera.
I'm way too close. I'm trying so hard not to.
Just kidding.
No, dude, it's
Lean
such a
forward.
source of my irritation. I know.
Move your
Should I?
face forward.
I need to lean forward. Ah,
Sorry. My shoulders are forward just because I'm more comfortable with my arms resting on the chair here.
seriously, dude.
You
I'll
don't
say it
have
again.
arms.
I'll say it again and again that I, you know, you. I was a nearly B, so I never could see myself as having big boobs. So when I bought a strapless bra for my little I call it a costume. It's just clothes, but when I go to the do the Skinner tribute band, I call it a costume. So when I bought a strapless bra for that, um, it was like a C. I don't know. It was a 38C, and it was spilling out of it. It was super tight, and I thought, "There's no way I'm a D." So I ordered a 40D, and it fits. Like, I mean, it's a little baggy on the top. Strapless bras gonna do that, but
Right.
I can't see it. I'm like, how the f- am I almost a D? That's just. And then you see pictures, and you're like, "Oh yeah." Like, I don't see myself that way. I look at someone else and go, "Oh, she's got big boobs," and they're like, "You have big boobs." I'm like, "No, I don't. I got small boobs." They're like, "No, you got big boobs." And then I realizing that it's because I'm big everywhere, and I've gained weight, and then I just feel all depressed again. No, but anyway, like, yeah. No, I was gonna say though, before we get to the boob part, we're gonna talk about how our week went. So how'd your week go?
I'm sorry. I'm messing with my program here because I was trying to change the layout for myself. Sorry. My week was great. I yeah, just um, we had a good week. We were supposed to go up to the cabin, so I called Jason's program and said, he's not going to be in the end of the week because we're going to be gone, and then ended up we couldn't go. So thank goodness I didn't tell Jace. We did go. We just went up for the day, one of the
Oh,
days, but
okay.
we were planning on staying the whole weekend.
Oh, what
Anyway,
happened? Oh, well, it's none of my business. It's
it
none
was
of
just
everybody's business.
no, it is. Mike just he thought he was gonna have some days off, but um, one of the jobs, the product that he needed, he thought he was gonna not get until Monday or whatever,
Oh, okay.
and he ended up getting it in time, so he wanted to finish that job by
All
Friday.
right.
So
Okay.
yeah, no big deal.
Cool.
Anyway, so we're gonna try to maybe go up next week. We'll see. Yep.
Hey,
Um,
I was going to tell
Other than
you.
that, I just worked on the books and stuff.
Oh, yeah, the books. Well, we'll be plugging that at the end for sure.
Yeah, we'll wait. We'll wait till I actually get the official one out. So how about you?
Well, first of all, I want to tell you that I really like that shirt you're wearing. It's very Native American-y from my angle, anyway. Well, I'm just
It's
saying.
not. Those are not feathers.
Oh,
Those
okay,
are
I'm
flower
sorry.
petals or leaves. Look, they're
Okay,
these.
sorry.
They're flower petals.
Okay.
I don't appropriate, okay?
You're way too white. I could get away with it a
I
little
can't
bit.
pull. You could pull anything off. I can't. I
I'm
can't.
so
The
ambiguous.
only thing I can pull off is Irish, Scottish, and I don't know, Swedish or something. I
Anything
guess.
white.
That's right.
Oh man.
That's
No,
just who I am.
my week was it was good. I mean, I say it's good because again, I will always try to take the high road. I try to take the high road. I try to be positive, and everyone will say, "Oh, you're so upbeat and positive." And so what happened was, if you remember, I don't know, I think it's been less than a month when we had those plumbing problems.
Yeah.
Well, guess what happened? I think it was Monday night. It might have been Monday night. Freaking toilets backing up into the shower. The toilets wouldn't flush, and the shower started filling up with nasty smelling water. I'm all,
Oh
no,
no.
fuck my life. So there's that part of me. This is a whole other thing I could get into, but I won't. There's a part of me that was like, okay, too bad. You can take a spit bath in the morning, or what we call a other kind of bath. People say it's not very nice. Streetwalker bath. I don't know. So I was like, I'll just do that. I could go to work, but you know what? There's that voice that said no. For the first time in my life, I have a job where I get paid sick leave, and I was spent. It's one of those things where it wasn't bad things happening, but it was just like that was the last straw in like a week of or weekend, a week.
Stressful stuff.
Yeah, but even then, I felt guilty all night. Even then, when I woke up early in the morning and knew that my coworkers are taking up the slack, blah, 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 I still couldn't help but feel bad. And I
Right?
saw that one coworker said she wasn't coming that day. And another coworker was on jury duty, and I just felt awful. And I realized like the teacher, barely takes work off. And my other teacher that we had before barely ever took work off. And I thought, man, I should have just sucked it up. So then I spent the whole day feeling guilty, going back and forth like, you asshole. You should have just done it. Who cares? Ooh, you had plumbing problems. Well, and here's what I did. I Jesse was like, hey, why don't we go to breakfast? Then we can go to the bathroom and breakfast, whenever we're talking. I go, no, man, because by the time I go and get breakfast, I have to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to have to go like 5,000 times within the hour we're there, and then it's going to take up time. I have to get ready to go. I said, nope. I know exactly what I'm going to do. I eat breakfast as soon as possible and drink my coffee, and then I went directly. Well, I did stuff around the house. I had to clean. I said, I'm cleaning for the plumbers because I'm sorry, I'm the only one who's mostly cleaning stuff. So
Yeah.
I go to the community park that's only 5 minutes away, and I do my number two business, and then and I take my hand sanitizer and my spray and all that. I've got
There
it
you
in my
go.
pockets. Then I proceed to walk around the park, all the way around that big park, because I know within a half an hour I'm gonna have to pee again. Because at work, that's what I do. I pee before I leave for work. I get to work 15 minutes later. I pee again. I get all the breakfast ready for all the kids and blah blah blah. An hour later, sorry, I gotta go pee again. So I already know my pattern of what time I have to pee and poo and whatever. Which I don't. I try to avoid pooping at school, which most people don't like to poop at work anyway. So I'm like, I know my pattern. So anyway, I text this to my coworkers being funny, and they're like, this one coworker says, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry you have to go through that." I go, "Don't feel sorry for me." I said, "Hillbillies were born to be prepared for this. Any one of my utilities go out, psh, whatever. I'm prepared. I know what to do. Get a bucket or get this. Anyway, so the whole thing was this trap that, and again, you lived in this house. the trap is super long, and the guy said, I don't even know if I have tools to get into that trap. That was what he told me the first time. So these other guys come in and they're like, well, it looks like the trap, the tunnel in the yard, the trap that's like about this big around tunnel, or I don't know what you call tube. He said the trap door in the trap somehow got broken and lodged in the fucking
Oh
hole that
no.
goes into the trap. I go, I'm really not shocked, sir, here talking to somebody who that's really not surprising. That you've, number one, never seen a trap like this, don't have the tools to get to it, and now you're telling me the fucking whole trap door of the trap
Yeah.
is stuck in the plumbing.
Yep.
Wow, tell me more, sir.
Yeah.
So then they said, so they came to, that was Tuesday, they stayed all day or whatever, fixed that. Then when by the time I got home and they were telling us about it, and he said, hey, you can use it. And I'm like, here we go. You can use your toilets. If you have any problems, let us know. And you probably should use like sewer safe toilet paper or whatever. Which I'm like, ugh. So I'm basically, if it's what is it? What's that saying? If it's brown, flush it down. If it's yellow, let it mellow. Because I'm so deathly afraid. They're coming back Thursday and Friday to dig
Okay.
a freaking three
Wow.
foot by 4 foot trench to fix it. Our poor landlord, that
Oh
guy, I feel
god.
bad. He's a good landlord. So now he has to pay for this fucking
Ugh.
trench.
Poor guy.
Anyway, it wasn't catastrophic. It was annoying, but I got a
Right.
day to walk in the park. I got all my steps. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I was just like, I needed a break. I needed a mental break. That was just kind of like, I needed
Too
it.
much. Yeah. I get it.
Anyway, I do have to tell you one funny thing. I know I monopolize the
Okay.
conversation, but dude, when I was setting up for the podcast, and this was hours ago, but I was just getting the room ready, whatever, and I was gonna tilt the blinds a little bit so they couldn't see directly in my room. And I noticed there was a bunch of cars are parked in front of our houses, and they're having a party next door. So I'm not like gawking. I'm not like that neighbor, like, listen to me. What are you fucking doing? But I look and I see this guy. He's probably our kid's age. He's got a birthday package. Oh, it must be a birthday party. He proceeds to go over to the car that's parked in the driveway. So whoever their friend is or whoever relative, and I see him reaching for the window, and I'm like, oh, maybe there's something stuck on his window. And then I clearly see the guy, and like you could see where the windshield wipers were. It was a little dusty, but this person is writing on the windshield. I don't even know what they wrote. And it was just such a Mike or us or people that do shit like that. And I thought it was just like, thank you to the universe for allowing me to see this little moment of joy that this guy's having, writing in his friend's some shit. Who knows what he wrote, on it,
That's
on his
funny.
friend's car. And it's one of those moments that you get to see, and then he's like all proud of himself, and then his wife and his kid come over, and they're going to the party, and so now that guy's gonna find it later. And it was just like you're in on a secret. Woo,
You've
he's
been on a
dissing
secret.
his friend on his, and it was
That's
just
so
silly.
cool.
But I like to thank the universe when I get dealt those little tidbits. So
Yep.
anyway,
Very cool.
yeah, it's been a pretty good week actually. I can't complain. Well, I'll have to fill you in later on our other things I could talk about Social Security. I was a little down about my Social Security news,
Oh. Okay.
or lack thereof and stuff. We'll talk
Yeah.
about that later. So,
All right.
but
All right. Well, I was bummed that I missed my granddaughter's little show.
oh,
I had Jace, and I couldn't. There was no way to.
I thought
You would
about
have
that. I was
ruined
like,
it.
why didn't I say, hey, could I watch him while you go and watch it? I felt
Yeah,
terrible.
it's all right.
I should
That's
have
all right.
offered that.
I should have planned ahead and tried to see if there was something I could do. It's okay. Um, I just I try to go see all their stuff, and it's just
It's
sometimes really
hard,
hard
especially
if it's
during the
during the
week.
week.
I
Yeah,
know.
things on the weekends I can easily do. So
Well,
anyway, um, yeah. So I know we were continuing our discussion from last week
yes.
about Um,
Breastfeeding.
breastfeeding. Yes.
Cans,
Um,
boobs, tatas. What else are they called?
honkers,
Honkers. Oh my
knockers.
Wait a minute on that note. Can I please? I'm so glad this came to me. You used to have a shirt when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I did not fucking understand the shirt. You had a shirt that had an old fashioned radio on it, and it said something like caution, blah, 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 do not play with the knobs.
Yeah.
I just remember that. And you had a novelty shirt like that, and then I know our brother had one that had a picture of the Bell, not Bell brand, but it was Granny Goose brand,
Granny Goose.
whatever. And it said, "Are you man enough to eat Granny Goose?" I was
Yeah.
like,
That was
but that
popular
thing
in the
with you,
70s.
caution, do not play with the knobs. Oh my gosh! I wish we
Yeah.
had a picture of that shirt. That was brilliant.
Hey, I do want to say something though. As sort of a, um, after rewatching last week's episode, I thought, especially with some of the things we might talk about tonight, I sound like such a hypocrite because I'm talking about how, you know, women's bodies should not be all about sex. Their boobs shouldn't all be about sex, and that we shouldn't be teaching our girls to, want to uh, use their boobs as a attraction feature on their body, and I believe all that. I feel like it's sad that society that we can't just run around naked and everybody's normal with it, and so there's no, if there's no mystery, then there's no sexualized body. You know what I'm saying? You're
Yeah.
attracted to a person because you're attracted to the person. It's not about the sexualization of how a woman looks.
Hmm.
So when I was mentioning about, young girls getting boob jobs, it wasn't anything about if somebody our age decided to, or somebody, that's already had children and they're
Yeah.
just feeling insecure and they just want to lift, you know, I didn't mean to make it sound like that I wasn't cool with that. I didn't want I didn't want my daughters to grow up thinking that they had to look a certain way in order to be attractive to a potential mate. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, 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 yeah. I don't think I got that when I rewatched it. I don't feel that it came across that way. But yeah, if anybody ever felt that way, please understand. Like I made
Yeah.
jokes about boob jobs. I would, like I said, I would love to get a reduction only because mine are like empty socks. But I don't want to at this
Like, if you
age.
get the
And for,
lift, I'd be cool with that. I don't
yeah,
need bare ones. I just need them lifted up. But yeah,
totally.
frost.
And I didn't. I remember I mentioned too that if if you have a mastectomy because of cancer or something,
Yeah,
that's tragic. That's not
it
you're
is
you're
tragic.
yeah, you're losing something. Or some people mourn their uterus. I
Right.
did not. I was glad to see it go. But some people do mourn that, and that's yeah. I we make jokes, but I hope people
It
would
was
not
more
come
about
across that we're
society's, yeah, again, it was more
yeah,
about society's view on women's bodies.
yeah.
And part of the reason that that came to mind is because one of the funny things that I wanted to talk about was how I remember after I had my first daughter, and I was so amazed by how big my boobs were. And I've always been a very small breasted person.
That was me too.
So
Yes, I'm right there with you, sister.
it was just so
I was
exciting
like,
because I put on my
woo.
bathing suit that first summer. I put on my bathing suit
Hmm.
and I had cleavage for the first time in my life. I had cleavage and I felt so sexy. And then I went to this wedding. Uh, my husband at the time, one of his friends at work, got married and she's Jewish. So it was a big Jewish wedding and it was really cool. I was so excited because I'd never been to a Jewish wedding and I was really excited about it. The closest I'd been to a Jewish wedding was watching Fiddler on the Roof, so I was excited to go to the wedding.
We're talking about boobs and you said fiddlers. That was a
Fiddlers,
Freudian
ew,
slip. Okay, go ahead.
yikes. But it was my first night out without the baby, so she was being babysat with a bottle and so on, and so the whole night I was in this really beautiful dress that I was so excited to wear, and I had cleavage, the whole bit. But my boobs kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger because they were impacted with milk. I
Oh,
ended up going into the bathroom at one point and literally squeezing them out into towels. Like I got paper towels, and I
oh
went into the
man.
stall and I sat there and I squished milk out into paper towels because I was
Oh,
in so much pain and they were so impacted
oh,
that I felt
dude.
like they were gonna pop. It was
How sad.
awful.
Oh no.
And then I noticed that, the pads were soaked and I had one set of pads left to stick
Oh,
in my bra, right? And by the end of the evening, there were just teeny tiny little wet spots under, and I'm like, we gotta go. Because I started to get wet spots under my boobs.
oh
I'm like, well, we
no.
gotta go. I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So people don't understand, men don't understand.
Yeah.
It sounds funny and it sounds like, so what, big deal, but
To a
when you're already
woman,
an
yeah.
insecure person, and then,
Well, yeah, but back then, we're talking the 80s, and that's
yeah,
coming off the 70s, where, yeah, the 60s were all, ooh, women, free love, and all that. And then the 70s, women were kind of going more back to work, and the 80s. And it kind of went, it seemed like it was the 50s was modest, 60s was this crazy blowout, 70s.
right.
And then 80s started to kind of, it seemed like come back into the modest
It,
era
it kind
for
of
a lot
did,
of
yeah.
people.
It's
And the
true.
and the reason I say that is because the freaking I laugh when I think of the just the maternity clothes alone. Not even just the bras, the bras that snap down. Like, did
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have the bras that
I had
unhooked?
those.
Right? There were
Yeah,
maternity bras. I don't know if
right.
our mom had them. I've never talked to her about it. I don't know if they
Probably
have the
not.
little unclipped whatever, but I mean, we had maternity clothes, just like when you see on I Love Lucy, where it was the straight A line,
Right,
it flared out so you didn't see the tummy at all.
right.
And so to breastfeed, you would have to lift up your whole shirt. There was no like just unbuttoning or even, I'm pretty sure, you correct me if I'm wrong, but I swear there were actual shirts with like folds in them that could open easy or something.
Well,
I just feel like there were some
there were,
designed shirts for that reason.
yeah. I mean, there were plenty of maternity related, which included breastfeeding out,
Yeah.
shirts and whatever, which usually were for like your first month or so home, and it was more
Yeah.
like a
Indoor stuff.
almost like a like a house dress kind of thing. It,
Yeah.
it wasn't necessarily something you'd wear out anywhere.
But can I
But
say, I don't think that there are I don't know, correct me again if I'm wrong, but I don't even know because my daughter never wore white cotton unhook bras. That girl was just like with me, like she's got the sports bra on, pulls up
yeah,
the tank or
pulls it
pulls
up.
her tank to the side or
Well,
whatever.
I think the difference too,
This was
like for
just 7 years
me,
ago.
I mean, I grew up in an era where you wore a bra. You never
Yeah.
went out of the house without a bra under your clothes. That was just the thing, right?
Yeah.
And um, so I would have those big pads. They were disposable pads because I didn't want to leak in
Yeah, I had the
public,
pads too,
right?
yeah.
So that the reason I had those fold down bras with the pads was because I was so huge with milk all the time
Yeah.
that I had to have that support, and I had to have something to hold the pads in
Right.
so that I didn't leak all over myself. So I don't know. I don't even remember asking my daughters if they used those. I don't, I've never had that discussion with them. So I really am curious now. I need to talk to them because we never really talked about that part of it, especially with Kristen. But eventually when the milk regulates, and it only comes in when the baby's ready to eat or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's really regulated.
You
I
don't
didn't
need
need
them.
any of that. I would go either braless or I'd just, I'd lift everything up,
God, I
and I
remember
didn't
those
have a
though.
problem.
They
I
were
would
just
have to
like
push
period
the
pads.
towel in.
Oh, the
Yeah.
towel, yeah.
And eventually I just ended up with a towel that I would use when I was feeding because once she started on one side, the other side the milk would start coming in, and you'd suddenly have wet
Oh,
clothes.
but well, what's funny about that too is I think in my mind, because I'm sure, you know, trying to save money, and those were expensive. They were like period pads. You'd pull
Yeah.
the little.
Yeah.
Did yours have the little pull the adhesive off and put it?
You
Was
know
it
what?
that
No,
kind of
mine
thing?
came in like a Pringles stack. It was It was a cardboard box, but it was like a Pringles stack, and you just take them out. I don't
I
remember
don't know
them
why.
being
That's probably, I don't know why in
individually
my
wrapped.
mind I feel like there was a tab to
They
stick
may
into
have
your
been
bra, but I don't know.
they may have been when
I don't
you were,
remember.
but remember how far
Maybe.
apart we are
Yeah, that's
in having our
true.
children, you
Well,
know.
no, but I was going to say too is that to save money, we had the pads, but those were for going out because you didn't want to waste the money on the
That's right.
pads. And then you would, like you said, use a
Washcloths or
towel
yeah,
and stuff that in your bra. I do remember that because I'm like, I'm
towels
not going
or
to waste a pad at home.
right. No, I agree with that. Now, I did have these weird things. I don't know if I'll try to find a picture of
Please
them and I'll
always
pop
find
them up for you.
pictures. Yes.
But okay, imagine I'm trying to think of what they look like. Okay, it's a clear like acrylic, clear see-through acrylic.
Okay.
Okay, and it's like two saucer shaped acrylic. Like
Like a
imagine
Christmas ornament?
like no, because it was flat. It made like a flat
Okay.
oval. So it was like a flat circle, but it had a little bit of depth to it, let's say.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Because it
Okay.
had to sit in your bra. So it was this
Has
big
it?
round thing that sat in your bra. And you could unscrew it to
Okay.
clean it out. And one side of it had a hole in it to put your nipples into.
Wait.
So instead of pads, I wore those for a while because it would fill with milk, but then you could go rinse it out and put it back.
So you're saying each breast had one of these?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, when you said they unscrew them, like unscrew, so you have
They,
two halves. How is there a hole
no,
involved, and how does it catch it?
they
Ah,
unscrew so you can dump the milk out and clean it.
that sounds
But they
familiar,
made,
dude.
but it made you look like you had two CDs in your bra. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay. Uh, that reminds me too of the story of when we went to Lake Havasu and you went to put a bathing suit on and what our brother said to you. I
I
don't know
don't
if you
remember.
want to tell the story. You don't know the
I don't
story?
remember it.
Okay, so this is what I remember because I was probably in like eighth grade, and yeah, because I was like 14, so I was like eighth
Yeah.
grade transitioning to ninth, and you you had I just remember it was like a bronze colored one piece, and it was in the summer, so your my niece would have only been like maybe 2 or 3 months. We're in Havasu, and I remember because it was so
True.
hot, and your
Yes,
husband at the time kept saying, "Oh my God, I will pay them whatever it takes to turn the air conditioning
I
on,"
remember
because
that.
they were trying to save money. They lived in the Moyo apartments over
Moyo.
there in
I remember
Havasu,
Moyo. It was an
and
all
it was
brick
hot as
house.
shit, dude. Like I don't know if it was you or me. It might have been me because again I was only 14. Opening the refrigerator just to get my face in there, like, oh my
It
God,
was
it's so
so
hot,
hot.
it's so
And I
hot.
had I had the little playpen. That's what she was
Yeah,
sleeping in. Yeah.
because they hadn't had their first child yet. You had the first one. So anyway, and I remember the next day we were going to go out on the boat or do whatever, and you had put the pads in your bronze colored one piece suit and you were so excited and you come out and our dear brother looked at you, pointed and said, "Haha, look, square boobs."
I don't remember that.
Because
I
you,
believe you. I just don't
yeah,
remember. Because the
because you,
pads.
because the pads and the way they gather and then your
Yeah.
boobs, you could see, and you were devastated. It was like you were so mad, and he just thought he was so funny and clever. He's
Uh,
such an asshole.
yeah.
I love him though. He's a good guy, but he he was a butthole.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure that I probably was devastated because
I
I was
can't
so
believe you don't
insecure.
remember square
I don't.
boobs. Uh oh, we
I
used
mean,
to
I
talk about this all
do.
the time.
I vaguely do, but I remember. I remember that it had to do with the pads, but I didn't remember
Okay,
where that happened. I didn't remember the
and
story
again,
behind it.
that's that's
But
my that's my memory,
you're,
but I've been wrong according to Mother about some of my memories, so I don't know.
no, you're probably right.
Square
But
boobs, what a dick.
yeah, it's so funny the things we have to go through just
Yeah,
to, you know, can you imagine what it would have been like to come across
like
like
the
in a covered
prairies,
wagon or
uh,
something,
or
you
even the
know?
grapes of wrath.
Yeah, or even like grandma when our grandmother had her first grandma our maternal grandmother, when she had her first child, she was living in a tiny travel trailer in a trailer park, or I don't even know if it was a trailer park. I think they were just living on the side of the road in a trailer, basically, or the side of a stream or
What I
something.
like to call a makeshift covered wagon because it was a
It was
truck with a cover
basically,
on the back.
yeah, or like a gypsy. I mean, they were like they just
Yeah.
go wherever the
Uh-oh,
work
watch
was.
out. Yeah.
But I remember her telling me about that and telling me what it was like to be pregnant and to, all the things that she went through, um, down to you had to use cloth for everything. So imagine you've got strips of cloth for everything you need, and you've got to reuse them. So you've got to go hand wash them in the stream
Ugh,
every day. You're hand
yeah.
washing all that stuff in all your clothes. And then when the baby comes, now you're hand washing all the baby's diapers. And she had to make her own diapers
Yeah.
out of linen and wash. I'm thinking, we're so freaking spoiled.
We are spoiled.
We are so spoiled,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
And so
I know.
we talk about these things, but it's when you think about it, it's like,
Well, and I don't think too when we
there's
talk
nothing we
about
can
this
really
stuff,
do.
you had babies in the 80s, I had babies in the 80s, in the 90s. Our mom had babies in the 60s. It was all 60s, 60 to 67. Our grandma, if our aunt was born in the same as our dad, which was 1937, then our uncle had to, he was older, so that had to have been like 35,
Yeah,
34. So we're talking about the
right.
1930s. There were no disposable diapers. Like you
Nope.
said, they made everything. They literally made dresses and things out of the corn sacks. And I think it's funny that there's still, or flour sacks, corn and
Hmm.
flour, I don't know. But the flowers, there's still some novelty I've seen in the store, flour sacks with flowers on them.
Right,
So
right.
it's flour with flowers on them, and then they'd make clothes out of those.
Yeah.
And you're right. They would have had to make those diapers, and they didn't even have diaper service. Like in my mind, when you say diapers, I'm
No.
like, what do you mean made diapers? Oh my God, you're right,
They
because
had to tear up
there weren't
strips of
diaper
linen.
services then for them,
Yeah.
or
And
not for
I'm
the
not even
poor.
sure, I don't think they really, in grandma's day, they wouldn't have had, um, I- I'm sure they had some kind of a safety pin or some kind of a pin, but in grandma's day, it would have been a far different kind, and it wasn't safety pin. It would
It
probably, I
wasn't.
mean,
Yeah,
so when you think about that, it's like, should we be complaining about
I know.
what we've gone
We're
through? I think it's more,
we're
for us, it's
such
more
little
funny.
bitches.
I think it's more funny,
It is fun.
you know? I think you think back on the, and then it's also, I look back at myself and the things that I was able to do. I can't compare them to what my grandmother was able to do or my
Oh
mother,
no.
but the things I was able to do and able to get through life, figuring it out, or enduring things that people, my kids today would be like, oh hell no, you know.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, you know what? You're pretty strong. You went through some stuff, and you really figured out how to get through some difficult stuff.
Yeah.
So I think fondly of those times because of that.
I think so too. I know there was a thing going around, I want to say in the early 2000s, that they were doing, I don't know if it was Oprah or shows like that, that had people going back to like trying to live like the Amish, and it was like a novelty thing. Oh,
like
we're gonna go and do
like
like a
they are
reality,
now,
like a reality show. Yeah, like let's go live
like
off the land.
like now with people that want to live off grid or want to be a trad wife or whatever, or yeah,
Yeah,
I remember
but
that.
even
Yeah.
then, yeah, but you can still be a trad wife and still have disposable
No, I'm
diapers and
just
all that.
I
Yeah,
know.
I know what you mean. But yeah, it's like, it's funny. Yeah, you're doing that for a show or you're doing it for an experiment or whatever, but that's just for a short period of time. Just like someone going camping and roughing it,
Right.
you're doing it for a while, then you go back to your life of having
Yeah.
all the. Now, granted, when I had my first child in 1989, I remember there was the controversy of disposable diapers and regular diapers.
Right.
That was a
Because of the
hot button.
landfill. Yeah.
That was a hot button of the day, and I had considered it. I'm like, goo, guy. I
Yeah.
almost felt guilty, like, oh, you're using disposable diapers. And I know my daughter wanted to do that too. She was
Right.
all about, let's do the reusable diapers, reusable everything. And I totally applaud that if you can do it.
Oh
But
yeah.
then when reality sits in to people that you are a working mother, that's when
Hmm.
it's like, dude, who's going to be washing them out? Who's going to be,
Yeah.
it's, and then you have to take them to a daycare situation and then they have to
Right.
do it. You better find someone who's willing to do that. If people don't know what a diaper, I gotta tell you, this memory just popped into my head real quick. I remember, we had at the house a yellow bucket and it
Yeah.
had a top on it
A
and it
white
had a
lid.
stork.
Yeah.
I don't remember the lid
Yes.
color, but to me it was all yellow. But yeah, a
With a stork.
yellow, it was the shape of a wastebasket, tapered to
Yeah.
the bottom. Yes, there was like a purple or bluish purple etched like little stork on it. And I'm sure that was a diaper pail, an old school
Yes.
diaper pail. And I remember though, we used that stuff for someone, I swear we used that in the Shasta trailer with that makeshift
As
toilet.
a
We
as a
shat in that
as
thing.
a pea pot.
I think
It
we
was
did.
a pea pot. Yeah.
And I remember somebody was having poop trouble in the family. This is a memory. Again, I don't know. But I remember someone was having poop trouble in the family and somebody pooped in that so that mom could look in that bucket. And it was in the garage on
Uh,
Velardo. I swear I remember that. Maybe not, but just in my mind, someone was having poop trouble. She had them poop in the bucket so she could inspect their poop. That's all I'm
I'm not
saying.
surprised.
I
I'm not surprised. Because
But I have sometimes I wonder if my dreams and my reality have mingled together. I don't know.
you never know. You may be jumping through time,
I
you
don't
know,
know, dude.
because our past, present,
Oh
and
God.
future,
Yeah.
you know, if it's truly just all out there at once, you could jump between each thing with just a thought. Who knows? You're getting your memories mixed up in what
Right,
timeline
right.
you're in.
Well, that's why, like, because we've mentioned before, you mentioned that a hamper that it looked a certain way, and I remember that clothes hamper. So you had it in the Highland house. It obviously came to the Florida house. Our families didn't throw stuff away. That's where I got my hoarderdom from. And it's not that it was just that was the way you didn't throw stuff away until it was absolutely
Right.
useless. So we had
That's
that.
true.
We had that hamper. And then I also remember the stork bucket. I remember the milk bottles that my brothers did little science experiments with. They were under the sink. Those were left over from the ranch house. We obviously brought those over because why would we have old milk bottles at the house that we moved into 72? They didn't have
Yeah.
milk service in 72.
No.
So it's just interesting, like you remember. Can I know this is a tangent, but in that fashion, let me just say this real
Okay.
quick because I forgot to talk about this. My granddaughter came home from school the other day. I think it was Friday. And she said, yeah, our teacher, she just randomly said this in the car. Yeah, our teacher was talking about ashtrays. And I go, okay, what did she say about ashtrays? And in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm sure she was just telling the kids, hey, there's these things. Maybe it's about anti drugs. I don't know. I'm not going to question it. And I said, well, me and my siblings, we all used to make ashtrays for our fathers with clay on for Father's Day gifts at school. And she looked at me like, what the fuck did you just say to me? And she says, that's terrible. Like it was something like, that's awful or terrible. And I go, you're right. It is. But then we didn't know. Anyway, it was just funny when you talk about
That's funny.
memories. Like, I have an ashtray, I have those memories. I've saved my old McDonald's ashtray, and she doesn't know what that is. She'd look at that and
No.
go, what is that? Why does it have little holes in it?
That's to
Anyway,
set you
so
suckers in. No, I'm just kidding.
say you suckers at this, kids. Was that for French fries at McDonald's? Did you put French
Yeah.
fries in those?
Yeah, you just put your ketchup on the tray, you just
It's
stack
a
your fries.
fucking French fry holder. It only holds 4 French fries at a time.
It just keeps you from eating too many.
Hey, that might be a video in the making of us with making a parody about smoking, but it's French fries.
New things that we can do with ashtrays.
Don't get me started. I'll do
Let's
it.
bring them back.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh. Yeah, there's a lot of things like that, from the pads to the clothes. We already talked last time about areas in which to do it,
Yeah.
I and again, I wouldn't leave necessarily weddings, funerals, parties, theater, whatever you're doing when you have a baby. If that baby cries, I'm fucking out of there, because I'm
Yeah.
not going to subject people to crying. But if it's
Hmm.
feeding and you're in the back and you're not hurting anybody, no one can see you, and of course we put
Yeah.
the blanket over, then yeah, I would do that. But
Yep.
like you said, when it's something out and about, like boing, your breasts are leaking and you have a wet spot, we gotta
It's a
go.
little different.
We're getting the fuck out of here.
Well, I was gonna say too. I remember I would go to the mall, and I don't know if it was with you, but I just remember going to the mall a couple of times. Probably the Carousel Mall. I'm thinking,
You
but
mean the
anyway,
Central City Mall, the mall
yeah,
that
the
has
mall
it
that has it
all?
all.
You didn't go to the Carousel Mall with her. You went to
It was
the
the
Central
Central
City
City
Mall.
Mall, the
How
mall that has
dare
it
you?
all. You're right.
Look it up on
Anyway,
Instagram. Look it up on Instagram. Central City Mall. Someone's got a
Central
film of
City
it.
Mall, San
San Bernardino.
Bernardino.
I mean San Bernardino. Sorry.
But I remember having the kids in the stroller or whatever, and we'd sit down to take a break so I could feed the baby. And I just remember, you know, women would come over and they're just like, "Oh, do you mind if I peek?" You know, you're like,
Yeah,
okay,
boobs are for everybody, I guess.
yeah, I guess so. And I mean, they just wanted to see the baby, and of course, at that time, you know, women, older women, it wasn't any big deal. Yeah, you're
Yeah, we were
breastfeeding your
comfortable
baby.
with that.
They would
Yeah,
peek, right?
yeah,
And I didn't care.
yeah.
But I just think it's so funny the difference now between that and now, where people are also, ooh, or holding their kid, don't look, or whatever.
Well, yes and
What?
no. There's two different camps, though. I believe there's more extremes. There's the people that totally think it's still cover up and don't touch me, my body, my choice, blah, don't
Yeah,
interfere. And then there's the other people who are like, you know, pulling their shirt up
right.
and no problem at all. But can I say with that, it is a struggle, because you and I are you're in the near boomer and I'm in the Gen X, and it's like, I understand bodily autonomy. Is that the right correct?
Yeah,
Bodily autonomy. And I am not one of those that says, "Oh, that girl was asking for it," because I do not believe that's true. Keep your thing in your pants. You don't have the right to say, "Well, she was asking for it." That is terrible and not true.
right, right.
And the same with breastfeeding. Like I had said last week, that I was, kind of, when my daughter just puts it all out there and I'm like looking around, but it's, again, I can't say that I'm for this, but that bothers me. And it's the
Yeah,
same with that, where if someone asks, can I see it? And if you say no, I'm really not comfortable, and they're like, "Oh, okay." Now if they were to go, "Whatever, oh, these woke people," then it'd be a problem. If you're like, "Come on, man." But it goes back to the same thing. You should respect what someone's level of comfort or discomfort is, and you
hmm,
should also respect that those older people don't understand, and don't fly off the
yeah,
handle if an old lady comes up and goes, "Oh, look at
yes.
your precious." You're like, "This is a private moment. Come on,
Right.
man. There has to be a compromise, or
We
understanding on both sides."
we're in a time of such extremes.
I
You
know.
know, everything is so extreme, and everybody on all sides of everything right now are freaking touchy and so easily triggered.
Hmm.
It's like, what happened? How did we become so wimpy and so oversensitive to everybody's stuff? Now, I say that
And
knowing full
overbearing.
well that I am oversensitive about certain stuff. Um, Certain people, this one time, I can think of so many times, but there was this one time that this person said um, something to the effect of, I guess, I'm trying to think of how to say this without betraying the people. So let me tell this story. Okay. So somebody said something about a certain kind of food or a certain dish of food or whatever that was being requested, and the person preparing the food was a woman, and that woman was like, I don't know because that's not really something we have stocked. I'm not sure if I can put that together.
Okay.
And the response from the man was, well, you're a woman, you should be able to figure that out
Oh, oh shit.
because it was involved cooking. So, you're a woman, you should be able to,
Oh.
kind of thing. All right, so in general, that's hilarious when you think about it, especially if you're a strong woman and someone says that, you're gonna laugh hysterically in their face and say, did you
Or tell them
just
to
say
fuck
what I
off.
think you said? Are you really are you kidding me now? Where other women like me, I'm gonna get so pissed, and that person, I'm gonna be resentful of that person for the longest time, and they're gonna have to work really hard to make it up to me. So I recognize in myself that I overreact too. I know
Yeah,
I do.
I do.
So, all of us are that way, but I think it's because we all feel in some way like our own rights are being trampled on
Yeah.
by others. And you get so frustrated. I can't imagine anything about a breastfeeding mother that is interfering with the rights of anyone else.
Well, that's just it. Because they call it in because they think it's indecent exposure. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how dare you? What's
Or
the difference? But and again, it goes back to what you said last week. If you're teaching your kids that it's gross,
then their attitude toward all of that and women's bodies and everything will be completely skewed.
right?
Completely
No, but
skewed.
see, but in their minds, they're saying, no, it's breastfeeding your child in public is gross, not the boob itself. It's like, yeah, but you're
Well,
teaching your kid that they're not allowed to show them to anybody until they're husbands, and that they're, whatever. And again, it all boils down to what are your experiences. Can I just interject with this? I went in to have my echocardiogram on Friday,
oh yeah,
and
forever.
so I lay down, and again, I've had some Me Too experiences, and I may or may not have had a sexual experience. The jury's still out on that. And again, I'm it's not ruling my life, but that's an issue that have had to deal with. So, but for the most part, I'm a theater geek kind of person, and you're just used to dressing and
Yeah,
quickly or whatever. I'm not that modest. I'm only modest because I'm don't want anybody to see my body because I'm not happy with parts of my body. But as far as them being a sexual thing, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Fuck. Look at my boobs. Plus the fact if you get turned on by these old boobs, then you got problems. But they're like, I found myself like, okay, there were men and women in there, and she's like, just put this gown on, open to the back, take your bra and your top off. And she shut the curtain, but there was like a crack, and it was all I could do not to go and try to push it to the crack. And I'm all, but I know they couldn't see me, and they don't give a shit. I'm
it's not like they're
58,
gonna come and
almost 50.
peek.
They're not going to come and peek. They're professionals. And I'm like,
Right.
and I kind of just laughed at myself. And then I was taking forever because I didn't know what to do with my stuff. And I started balancing on the stool. And she's all, okay, well, just let me know when you're ready. And I go, sorry. I go, I'm trying to put I didn't know where to put my stuff. She goes, oh, just put it on that stool. I go, okay. It's like, but I thought it was funny that I don't care. And then when she comes in, I don't tie it. I just fold it. And she was trying to like kind of cover me with it, and I was really close to making a joke and going, dude, I don't care if my boobs show. If it's bothering you, you can cover it. But I thought, no, I don't want to embarrass this girl. I don't know
Yeah.
what her thing is, you know. But it's just funny how different people are. Like I am like whatever, it's a boob. But some people are and they may have had a molestation experience
That's
or
true.
whatever, and they are very modest and don't want people to see. And I have to remind myself, not everybody's you, asshole. Not
Yeah.
everybody's like, look at my boobs. They're just boobs,
Yeah.
so
You're right.
it's yeah, that's you got to respect everybody's wishes. Consent.
But
That's what we
that's
keep
the
telling my
key.
granddaughter.
That's the key, though, is respecting each of us, respecting each other's
Right.
rights and wishes, and you know. So, if somebody feels more comfortable going into a private area to breastfeed their child, that's fine with me. I'm not going to
Of
judge them for
course.
that. What I'm
No.
saying is that no one should force their uh, insecurities onto a mother that wants to breastfeed her child.
Oh yeah.
If you're having a hang up about it, leave the room or don't watch her.
Yeah.
I
That's
mean,
your
but
problem.
I guess that's the point.
Hmm.
Is that we've just over sexualized the body to the point that it's like seeing a man in a speedo on a beach, and you can
I
see
don't
it
know.
all. And usually it's like a thumb. That's pretty much what it looks like, right? There's this thumb behind that. Let me show you. Let's see. Let me get this napkin. You see this, right?
Look at man. I don't want to
So
see a thumb. I don't
it's
want to
just a
see
little
thumbs.
thumb,
I don't.
but
I don't want
but
to
I'm
see a
just
hot
saying,
dog in
I,
plums.
it's not, there's nothing wrong with it,
No, there's
but
not.
I am one of those people that I'm not grossed out by seeing it, and I could care less. I don't care if we are naked, like I said, it doesn't matter. But it's the fact that you can see it and you know what it is. And so we laugh like a
I
little
do laugh.
kid.
Yeah.
Like a little kid, right?
Yeah.
Why do we do that? Or like some rock stars that are in lycra pants on stage, and you know that they've
Hey.
enhanced whatever is in there, and you're just laughing because you're like, do you think that's a
Well,
turn on,
maybe.
dude?
Maybe.
Really? Everybody
Or like,
wants you because of that?
or like, there's ballet dudes, ballerina guys. I mean, they're.
Well, they usually tuck theirs, I think.
How do you know that? Why would you say that? Is that true?
I don't know. I think so
Wait,
because I
dude,
think because of what they have to wear, it's probably very distracting
I don't
if
know
it's
how we
not
got it.
completely, held in
I
place.
don't know how we
Like,
got
why
here,
wear
but
cups?
I don't know. Look,
I
I
don't
gotta
know.
say, no, listen though. If you've ever watched that movie, what movie was it? Top Secret with Val Kilmer. I think it might have been Top Secret when there was a part in the ballerina where where the guys, somebody's walking across their penises like this. I don't know. I'm gonna have to find it. I'm telling you,
Oh my
it's like a
God.
top. It's like that Val
I don't
Kilmer
know
Top
if
Secret movie,
I'm sure I've seen it, but
and for
wow.
whatever reason, those guys saved the day because their wieners were out, and somebody used them as stepping stones. I swear to God,
Good
I swear.
grief.
How did
But
we get here?
it's just it's funny because you think about that and then you think about women's nipples and you're like, okay, the only reason that people have issue with it is because they know what it is and they know what's under
Yeah.
there. You
Wait
know,
a minute.
I mean, I don't know. It's
No,
just
no.
funny. We're funny. Humans are so weird. We're just
Okay.
weird.
Well, here's the thing, though. When you think about it, okay, so boobs. You can see a woman's boobs even if she wears the most baggiest flouncy top. There's no way you
There's a hump
cannot
there,
not see a boobs. Like
right?
if someone has, I know somebody who had like what was it? It was like double G. I'm not even
Oh
fucking
my
kidding you.
gosh.
Double G. She had a breast reduction. I think she's D now. But I said to her, I go, look, man, I'm not fully gay. I'm on the spectrum somewhere. I said, so don't take this the wrong way. I said, but there's a part of me that wants so bad to see that. I go, I would love to see a picture of your boobs as a G. Like I need to see the point of reference of how big these boobs are. I need to see them for myself. And she laughed. It was fun. It was all in fun, but I thought, you know, again, I'm like pushing a D or whatever. Okay, so guys, so you cannot not see boobs no matter what. You can
Right.
wear a choir robe, you could still see who's got fucking D's and who's got A's. There's just no way around it. All right? So for a man, it's the same thing. If a man's generally men who are wearing pants, you can see which way they hang to the right or the left. That doesn't mean I'm staring at your dicks, but sometimes my ADHD brain, I admit, I'll be taking, for whatever reason, randomly, I'll be taking my own little survey, and without a man knowing, I'll go, I wonder what side that guy's on that guy. And then I'll take my own survey at the end of the time that I've looked at dicks and thought, how many dicks were on one side as opposed to the other? So if I can make that survey and I know which side of the coin your pants are on, okay, we can see your wieners. So why is that? You know what I mean though? Like
Yeah,
go that's
yeah,
that's more of a sexual uh um
heart,
thing than part than a
heart,
woman's breasts. So that's
right?
why I just think that whole thing is funny. Is like you said with
It
the
is.
speedo, especially like it's all out there, or spandex, or tights, or whatever it is. I can see it. Or if you're
Yeah,
wearing those men are wearing skinny jeans, you can see it on them too. So why is that like women's boobs are still like we can see your fucking dick? But you see a woman's boobs and suddenly it's a sexual object if she's wearing a low
right.
cut top or a tube top or whatever.
And yet, the most conservative people out there tend to feel like that is the image of the beautiful woman.
Oh
The big
God, yeah.
breasts, cleavage, short skirts, and high heels. That's feminine. That's the image of a woman right there. You know.
Well, I'll tell you, I won't name names, but I will say when we were talking about doing costuming for one of the bands I'm in, I'll just say one of the bands I'm in, and we were talking about what should we wear? What should us girls wear?
Yeah.
One of the young girls had worn like boots, cowboy boots and a skirt, whatever. And I think it was like a vest, like a fringe vest, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And we were laughing, me and the other girl, she's 10 years younger than me, but I said, yeah, I don't think that's gonna work for me. And she's like, yeah, I don't wear skirts. That's not gonna happen, or whatever it was. And one of the members said, well, I'm just saying, mini skirts and boots, it's sexy as hell, but people should do what they're gonna do, what they want to do, and what they're comfortable with. And it just struck me wrong. I know they weren't. I don't think they're being misogynist per se, and that they're a creep or anything. I'm not saying that, but it was just kind of like, really, dude? Like
Right.
you know, I am in my 50s. That person was in their maybe 20s or 30s. Do you understand that people might not want to see my wrinkly old knees? Because by the way, when I wear a wig and makeup, that'll take 10 years off of me. I can get away with being in my 40s and that from a stage from far away. But if I wore a skirt showing my knees, there's no way someone's not going to go, oh shit, those knees don't match that fucking face and wig.
I don't know about that. Your
No, but
legs,
I'm
you
just saying.
have good legs.
Well, no, I appreciate that. I got the blotchy, fucking crazy shit from bad heart stuff and lack of circulation. But no, but my point is, again, with aesthetics, we were talking about the square boobs and the pads and the milk coming out. That could go back to women have never can wear white pants. You're only good to wear white pants the day after your period's over for maybe a good two weeks, and then you have to start worrying about wearing white pants.
Right.
And
Right.
guys will never understand that
Mm-hmm.
you can't just wear white pants anytime you want. What do you mean? Same with boobs. Like, not everybody has Jersey milk cow boobs when they breastfeed. Some
Right.
women can't breastfeed. That's tragic for some of them. I understand that. But it's like, dude, you just will never know. You'll never know the feeling. I had a breast infection with my daughter. It got all hot and red
Yeah.
under there, and
Well,
I
that's so
didn't.
painful.
It was awful. I didn't
Yeah.
know. I was only 21, and I didn't know it was happening. And by the time I told my mother, oh man, I think you have a breast infection. Like, oh, okay. So I finally go into the doctor, and it's so bad. It had gotten
Mm-hmm.
so bad that they're like, well, we're going to have to shoot you up with the antibiotics. Okay. So I get the antibiotics, and then I start getting I told our mother, Mom, I'm getting like, it looks like mosquito bites on all my joints.
Oh
They itch
no.
really bad. She goes, oh my God, I think you're allergic to the penicillin. And again, by the time I went into the doctor, they're talking, you may have to stop breastfeeding. I was devastated.
Uh,
She was only like maybe 4 months old at that time. And I was like, what? We may have to shoot you up with drugs like steroids, all these things, because you're having an allergic reaction. my
Right.
joints got so sore I couldn't even pick her up. I had to go to mom's, and mom helped me get through that because I couldn't even pick her up because
Wow.
my joints were hurting from being. I could have went to anaphylactic shock.
Oh,
So
good
I'm just
grief.
saying that's extreme. And my mother was a nurse, and that still happened because I didn't know. I didn't
Right.
tell her. And, think of all the women who didn't have a mother that was a nurse, who may have almost died or had to stop breastfeeding because of something like that. It's just it people don't realize how much, oh, it's just breastfeeding, it's the most natural thing. No, because some people can't. Some people it's too painful. Some people they get infections. Some people the milk doesn't come in, or whatever reason it is, or
Right.
maybe their culture, their family makes them feel weird about it. There's so many reasons that these things happen, and people don't realize what goes into, not even to mention pregnancy and birth. We're just talking about breastfeeding
Just
you
feeding the
know
kid. Yeah.
Hey, I know something. You need to tell the story about a doctor you had and what he told you to do to stimulate your breast milk. Wasn't it like a Dr. Anderson or something, and he told you what to drink?
Oh, yeah. I did have a
Ah,
doctor that said, it wouldn't hurt to have a beer or a glass of wine to help you bring that milk in.
yeah,
Yep.
promoting
And
alcohol.
and there and there and that was the doctor. That was the doctor who ended up losing his practice, or losing his being a doctor, because he was intoxicated during several deliveries.
Oh my God.
So
Well, now
yeah,
we know why he
he
wanted you.
was he was not he's not one of my favorite
Yeah.
guys. So, yeah,
Jeez.
but yeah. So I I applaud the women out there that you know that just go forth and make their own decisions about how they're going to raise their children.
Yes.
You make your own decisions however you're comfortable, whatever your child seems to want from you.
Right.
Let that child lead the way, and you adjust however you can. You're going to make so many adjustments in your life anyway. But
And theirs.
but yeah, sometimes I won't even say, I don't even want to say, yeah, you just listen to your doctor, listen to your pediatrician, because not all of them have the right advice either. I feel like your motherly instinct is sometimes, you know,
Yeah.
way more accurate, and you're the one who has to live with what you're doing.
Well, and I don't know, do they still have lactation consultants? Is that still a thing? I would
They do.
imagine.
They do. Yeah.
My suggestion is find somebody like that because, again, not, I don't want to say this because there's great, you know, there's plenty of people who have never had kids that could be motherly. We know that. There's great
Yeah.
stepmoms and
Right.
stepdads out there. They've never
Yes.
had kids, but they're great parents. That has nothing to do with it. But when it
Right.
comes to something like breastfeeding, I'm sorry, but I do have to go out a limb there and say a man can't understand fully what you're going through, and maybe even a woman doctor who's never breastfed. I'm sorry, but I think that
I
you need to
agree.
find somebody that can mentor you that has.
Yes.
That's just to be fair. I just think that's the way
Hmm.
that could be. I'm not saying
I
they're
feel
not
the
a good
same way.
doctor or that they can't empathize with or sympathize with you, but
Yeah.
they really don't know,
Yeah.
you know.
I
And
agree.
again, I feel bad because, like I said, we were just talking about this recently at my job, and a couple of coworkers who talked about, well, one coworker didn't hasn't had kids at all, and another coworker said, "Yeah, my milk didn't come in," and the way they said it, I could tell it kind of
Oh,
bothered them, and it just hurt my heart because it's almost like survivor's guilt. You feel guilty that you could have
yeah.
had. Jersey milk cow with all these kids. You could have had the old mother in the shoe. I could have fucking fed
Yep.
them all. And then there's people who really wanted to. And it's
Hmm.
like, please don't think that makes you less than. That has nothing to do with it. For whatever reason, our bodies betray us for birth. I have another coworker that had to go and get IVF they had to go like all the way to New York because for whatever reason that's the person they connected with. I don't know how that works. And I feel
Yeah.
bad this and they're young, they're under 30 and this happened and I just ache for them. They can carry it, but they can't produce an egg and I'm like that's how hard is that?
Yeah.
Everybody's got a cross to bear when it comes to being a woman. There's always something, the body betrays you somehow, and it's sad and you have every
It
right to be
is.
upset at the universe for that. You really
Because
do.
even afterward, when we're talking menopause, it has another way of betraying us. But
I know.
that's
God.
another discussion for another time. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think the biggest thing is people need to remember again, and since it's still May, still thinking about Mother's Day,
Yes.
about you know, you, you have to remember that a woman's body is it's like this precious vessel, this precious thing that society needs and has to depend on. And so that vessel, though, it's not just about birth, it's about also mentally being uh, being in a state of feeling secure, feeling wanted, feeling loved, feeling
Yes.
successful, feeling, in order to be nurturing and to be what all that we can be, we need to feel good about ourselves. And everything that they keep throwing at women these days, it's like, it undermines all of that security and undermines our feeling of being an independent individual that makes a difference in the world. You get undermined. You start to feel like, wow, they're just arguing about what to do with us,
Like we're not in the room. They're
Yeah,
talking about us like we're not in the
right.
room. Yeah.
Like we're not in the room. It's
Yeah.
like, can you maybe include us a little? Because, I'm for one am really sick of men making rules and laws about women's bodies. I am so fed up with that. Fed up. And so that's what I will always stand on, no matter what.
Yep. Our body, our choice.
Yes. And
I
and
mean, when it
that's
comes down
that.
to it, I'm sorry, but well, we don't need to get into it, but it's
I
just
think
like I
everyone
could go.
gets where we stand.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I think that we've probably covered this pretty well.
I think so.
Covered it pretty well.
Boo, boo, boo. Cover those boobs.
Knockers up.
Knockers. Oh my gosh. That should be our outro song. I don't know if you can do it
Ladies, get
licensing
those
wise.
knockers up. 2, 3, 4, up.
Or
2,
up
3.
to
That's Rusty Warren.
Rusty
Knockers up.
Warren.
Or bounce your
Rusty
boobies.
Warren.
Bounce your boobies. Get 'em and swing. Bounce your boobies. Lola.
Oh
Anyway,
my
yeah,
God.
Rusty Warren
Dude,
is the
we have to
name.
do a whole podcast about like Dr. Demento and different parody songs and Weird
Yes, we
Al.
do. We need to
Because
do. I got an
because
idea. We'll
we
talk about.
because we have songs that we made up and I hope
Yes,
they're
we do.
not destroyed by my
I think I
garage
might have the
storage, but
CD of those
oh
songs.
God.
I think I do.
Anywho, we'll
All
talk.
right.
Hey,
Well,
do we want to plug anything or no? Anything to plug that we're
um,
doing?
no, but I do want to say this.
Nice.
I've always wanted goats, especially screaming goats. My husband bought this for me.
Oh, that's as close as you'll ever get. You can't have goats in the desert? Why not? Why can't you have a goat in the desert?
We can have goats, but it just there's no place for them to graze. We don't
Oh,
have any.
in the desert.
I'd have,
Oh,
then what would be the purpose? Anyway,
okay.
but
We'll
someday,
talk.
someday,
There's got to be a way. They can live in the house. Fuck it. You can get grass. Fuck that. You can have goats in the house if you want. I'm gonna
yeah, but I
talk to
still have
him.
to feed them, and so
You
anyway,
can
but
have
we'll
goats.
yeah, we'll talk about that.
All right.
So okay, well, thanks everyone for joining us again. It's like we should have a setting of like a coffee table with coffee and fruit or something when we do these podcasts because it's like everybody keeps commenting. It's like sitting around the table with you guys
Oh, I
just
get
talk,
it.
Anyway, or maybe not
Okay.
coffee and fruit, maybe just like beers. We don't have to drink them. We just set a
I know
beer,
fruit right here.
a big thing of chips, and it's just gathering around the table with Aunt Wah and crazy Cheryl.
Crazy Cheryl.
So thanks for joining us, and
Thank
please
you.
like, subscribe, and share, and all that good stuff.
Yes,
Even
please
though
do.
this is not like a monetized channel that has anything to do with our livelihood, it is fun to grow a subscription of people
Yeah.
just because we like hearing from people that we don't know. Well, even people that we do know. But I mean, it's nice if you're someone that doesn't really know us, for you to comment
Yeah.
and ask us questions, make comments about stuff, because it's the fun part of doing this is being able to connect with people all over the world. That's the fun part, and
Yeah, it
that's
would be
what we're
great.
after. So
But we
comment
love our family that supports us
on our
also.
family
Thank
too,
you for
and our
watching,
friends.
family.
Yes, of
Our
course.
diehards. Thank you. We love
We
you.
love your comments too. I Yeah, I think we're going to do some trivia stuff coming up. We're going to play a game where we're going to
All
ask our
right.
family members to, we might even do a live broadcast
That would be
where
fun.
huh?
That would be fun.
We'll do a live one where we tell our family members ahead of time that we're going to ask questions and see who knows the answer. And so they have to, in the live chat, try to give the right answer.
Oh, okay. That'd be great. I'd love
We're
that.
going to try to stump the
Yay,
family
yay.
and the audience. So things
Okay.
like that we're hoping to plan to do in the future. We just have
Right
to get
on.
used to doing what we're doing here, and
I
it's
know.
it's doing it remotely is tricky enough.
Yeah, I
So
know.
we'll work on that. But thanks very much
Bye,
for joining us. We love you
everybody.
all, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
Bye.